चे ज्यो पार्ट्यो ज्यो भितर आयल्या इलेक्शनाच्या हातून तातूंतल्यान एक्झॅक्ट गोंयचे पॉलिटिकल म्हणजे मतांचें राजकारण कितें जातलें. आतां TMC आसा फॉर एग्जांपल. TMC पळया किंवा आम आदमी पळया किंवा MGP पळया. युनायटेड अपोजिशनांत जर तुमी विचार केलो जाल्यार युनायटेड अपोजिशनाच्या हातून व्हडलो फरक पडना. हे जे रावल्या ते सगळे एकामेकाक खंय तरी सांबाळून आसा. वर्सीस BJP, युनायटेड अपोजिशन वर्सीस BJP हें चित्र सगळे ओवरऑल गोंयांत तुमकां पळोवपाक मेळटलें. आनी हें चित्र ताणें सारकें म्हाका दिसता की अपोजिशनान फर्स्ट टायम खंय तरी एक सिस्टमॅटीक BJPक कॉर्नर करपाचो एक यत्न केला. तातूंतल्यान BJP कशें मॅनेज करता, सोशल इंजिनियरींग कशें करता, बाकीच्या कॉन्स्टिट्युएन्सींत मल्टी जे कॅन्डिडेट आसा तातूंतल्यान BJP कसो आपणाक फायदो करून घेवंक शकता हें आमकां आयज निकालाच्या वेळार कळटलें. पण डेफिनेटली देर इज स्ट्रॉंग एंटी इनकम्बन्सी this time.
Okay. Early this morning, I stepped out and took a little stroll in one of the most in front of one of the most iconic cafes of Goa, Cafe Bosley. I interacted with a few people. My colleague Clinton D'Souza was also there, and we just caught up with with a few people to assess the mood. A lot of early risers today. Obviously, people who are involved in the election process. They were all there. Flaunting their election counting cards, their access to the counting centers, and everybody, and that's all they were talking. I mean, they were just quickly ordering their bhaji puris and chai, but they were all in every table. The whole discussion was centered around this, not just about Panjim, but about everywhere else. And we'll just cut to that video and. I'll keep talking till he concludes.
Good morning, all Goans. Welcome to this special round-the-clock saturation coverage on Herald TV of D-Day, the day of counting, when dreams will be crushed and dreams will be fulfilled, when destinies will be made and destinies will be destroyed, when the political landscape is going to be mapped out, the contours of the future will be etched in our memories and as well as in our political landscape. It's extremely important for all of us to follow this election counting day, because 2022 is going to be extremely different. It's going to shape the way Goa protects itself. It's going to shape the way Goa moves ahead. And let me tell you this, as we begin this day, it's about 7 o'clock now, in this iconic Panjim Square in front of Cafe Bosley. People are already coming in. There is tension in the air. If I can ask my colleague Clinton to do a quick pan and look at people. People have already started gathering there.
So
they are meeting in groups. There is nervous laughter.
I'll just do the early leads
and there is obviously palpable tension. People are ordering their bhaji puris and chai, and one can see Milind right there, Milind Bhosle, the great guy there, who's been kind of feeding and serving breakfast to millions now, for many years. And of course, this is where people actually gather in Panjim to start the day, to discuss politics and what have you. But I just gone inside a little while ago, and I'm going to go there again. There is a lot of anticipation in the face of everybody, because all of them have either kind of supported a party or a candidate, and we do need to understand that behind the candidates and parties there's a huge election machinery. And I'm not talking of the formal election machinery, but there are so many people who work behind the scenes with every candidate, with every political party, in villages, in small blocks, in in panchayats and so on and so forth. And for everybody, this election means something. It means, whether it's going to be a culmination of all their hard work, whether it'll pay off or not. and we need to look at that as well. We have been, of course, covering these elections, right from the time they were announced and even before. And for us to here at Herald, there's also going to be a culmination of a lot of work, a lot of research, debates, discussions, and stuff like that. Uh, Let me just bring you in on the large map of this election. Uh, there are 40 seats going to be counted. That's the total number of seats that are there in Goa. The major parties are, of course, the BJP, the Congress and the Goa Forward Alliance, the MGP and the TMC Alliance, the Aam Aadmi Party. You have the Revolutionary Goans, and you have a lot of smaller parties and independents, all of who are going to play a big role. What is going to be very important here also is to look at the way if the exit polls plays out, because the exit polls have predicted a very hung assembly with giving the around 14 to 17 seats, or between 15 to 18 seats to both the major players, the Congress and the BJP. So the name of the game ultimately is going to be, the last, say, 12 to 13 seats, because if both the major parties get about say 32 seats, between 20 and 32 seats, the battle really is going to be on those critical 12 to 14 seats, and which way they will go. In those 12 to 14 seats will make up of the smaller parties, the regional parties, and the independents. Do understand, in this election, unlike any other election in the past, it's been a very neck and neck election, in the sense that there is no clear winner predicted in a majority of the constituencies. In fact, for the first time, political pundits are looking over the shoulders and asking each other, whether we are going to get it right or not, because never in the history of Goa have we had a situation where you cannot even predict say 25 seats confidently. It can just go anywhere, and that is really going to be the name of the game, and how these neck and neck seats pan out. So the larger questions are going to be addressed today. Larger questions like what is the role the smaller parties are going to play, whether the splitting of votes is going to be a reality or a myth. Will the anti incumbency sentiment override everything else, and give a huge verdict to maybe the Congress, or will the anti incumbency vote split across all parties, giving BJP the edge? All that is going to come into play today, and that is something that we need to kind of look and work out. We will also, in a little while, my colleague Clinton is going to go in and have a quick chat with people there over their samosas and bhaji puris, and just get a sense of what really is going on, and what really is going to be the pulse of the day. We'll slowly move into Cafe Bhosle now, and then I'll hand over the mic and the proceedings to Clinton to go and have a chat with people. Thank you.
Well, heading from the studios now, I'm come outside in Cafe Bhosle, and I have with me another strong candidate from MAPSA, who has been in the forefront, and we also know what, and let's see to what he has to say. While you sip a cup of coffee or tea out here, what are the things that come in your mind?
I think it has been a tradition to, as a candidate, as all the counting agents, to go for breakfast before we go to the polls, before we head to counting. And in that same tradition, I have come again once to Cafe Bosle to have a tea with all the counting agents that we have. We are extremely positive with everything that has happened in the last 1.5 months prior to the voting day. We are confident. There was a nice meeting that was held yesterday at Vivanta with all the candidates. The confidence shown by the party to form the next government is very evident in every aspect, whether it is the exit poll or whether it is the confidence shown by each and every candidate. We are confident of forming the government in this after post counting today. The same way, we've seen a lot of new faces in the BJP. The same way, there's a lot of competition this time in terms of two new big parties that have joined the fray. So we'll have to just see what happens today. From people's perspective, there seems to be a lot of silent voting. So let's see which side that swings, whether it is in favor of this side, whether it is for a new party. We will try to analyze everything post counting.
If I have to ask you one question, how many seats can BJP win?
See, BJP will have the single largest majority. We could get anything between 17 to 19 seats, so even cross 21, 22. There are 15 seats that I feel that are 100% through. The rest of them are, a little bit up and down. If things swing well, we will cross the 20 plus barrier. But if things do not, then we should be at about 16, 17, around that number, to 18.
Thank you, Joshua, and we'll see you post results. Now sitting at Cafe Bosle, I am going to speak to some of the common men sitting out here on the big verdict day, and I have with me Simon over here. Simon, first of all, it is a big day in Goa today. What do you feel will happen in next couple of hours now?
I think there's going to be a big change.
Colleague Clinton D'Souza, who's reached the South Goa Counting Center in Margao. Clinton, what do we have? Okay, there's some technical glitch with the audio and okay, we have Clinton back again. Yeah. Cut. Move back. These lags are not good. They will cut back to. I'm sure our backend team is going to sort that out. Clinton, please stand by. We'll get to you very shortly. Meanwhile, a few trends. These are early trends, and these are postal ballot trends by and large. So we won't read too much into it, but let's do this because it's exciting nevertheless. After the postal ballot count has started, the Congress is leading in 20 constituencies, while the BJP is leading in 16. This information is about roughly 15 minutes old. TMC is leading in 4 constituencies on the postal ballot. Vishwajit Rane from Valpoi and Divya Rane from Poriye, both BJP candidates are leading. In Fatorda, Vijay Sardesai, the Goa Forward candidate, is leading. And Utpal Parikar, the independent candidate and the son of Manohar Parikar, is leading in Panjim. But I must reiterate again and again, these are postal ballots and very early information. We can't even call them trends yet, but these are just baby steps towards the real counting. Well, after the first round of counting on the EVMs, Babush Montserrat of the BJP is leading from Panjim. And Clinton is ready, and so are we. Clinton, what do you have there? Hi Clinton. Please let us know what the situation there is and what are you seeing and what visuals you are getting and so on and so forth.
Hello.
Yeah, Clinton. Okay, hi. Good to see you there. And do tell us what's going on. What's the mood there? Have what are the candidates doing? Has everybody turned up? I saw a lot of BJP candidates there. Didn't see too many Congress guys, except Dharmesh Taglani. So, are the Congress guys still in their hotel or wherever they're kept, or what's going on? Viewers just okay. So should we let Clinton be for some time and try and get to him a little later? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. Let's quickly get back to the rest of the discussion. while we try and sort out our audio glitches with Clinton. Some more information coming in from Sangli. Dharmesh Sangli is leading by 436 votes. Dharmesh Saglani of Congress, and Sangli is the Chief Minister Pramod Sawant's constituency. So that's significant. It's going to be a tough fight, nevertheless. Then Deepak, and I think Deepak would mean Deepak Dhawlikar. Yeah, Deepak Dhawlikar is leading in Priol. He is the brother of Sudhin Dhawlikar, and he is from the MGP. And Priol and Matkai are two seats that the MGP fancies to win. Then, of course, in South Goa, the MGP is actually the MGP is leading in about 6. The MGP TMC alliance is leading in about 6 constituencies. Yes, but again, these are early days. But nevertheless, you know. Okay, now Movin Gudino was speaking to journalists there, and he expressed confidence that he's going to win, and the BJP is going to win. Dayanand Mandrekar is leading in Shioli. Dayanand Mandrekar of the BJP, veteran BJP candidate who actually lost in the last election, when virtually every senior BJP person lost. So there was Mandrekar who lost. There was Lakshmikant Parsekar who lost from Mandre. But Dayanand Mandrekar currently is leading in Shioli. Importantly, in Shioli, we also have Delilah Lobo of the Congress, and it's one of the seats that Michael Lobo and Delilah Lobo and his bastion hopes to win. I mean, he expects to do very well there. That's where we are. Joshua D'Souza, the son of Francis D'Souza, is leading in Mapsa. He, of course, is trying to take the legacy of his late father forward, and so that's how the cookie crumbles as far as this hour is concerned. It's still early, but let me tell you that things are going to move very, very quickly, and in the next 1 hour we'll have a very clear direction as far as this counting goes. I'll get back to my colleagues Alessandra and Rajan. Rajanji, I'll start with you. Let us start with the Perne Taluka. Look at the Perne and the Mandre seats. We'll quickly move through different seats. Okay. Now, as far as Mandre and Perne is concerned, they were always MGP backyards. Of course, last time the Congress actually won Mandre. Dayanand Sopte, the Congress candidate, he won Mandre, and then he defected. Perne again is another area where obviously the Congress never does well, but it has always been a MGP and then the BJP bastion. What's going to happen this time?
There are multiple fights this time here. Mandria 9 जण रावल्या आणि पेडण्यातही तशेंच मॅक्झिमम 7-8 जण आसा. सो कोण मतां कोणाची खाता आणि थोडेशे म्हाका दिसता की आय एम नॉट एक्युजिंग, बट काही पॉलिटिकल पार्ट्यांनी काही कॅन्डिडेट अशे तरेन तयार केल्या की वोट खावपा खातीरच काय कितें अशें हें पळयत जाल्यार दिसता. आतां कोण कितें तें प्रत्येकान आपूण समजपाचें. पण एकूण चित्र पळयलें जाल्यार पेडण्यात BJP वर्सीस काँग्रेस MGP अशी फायट आसा. सिमिलर फायट मांद्र्यांतूय आसा, हांचे भितर आसा. अपक्ष म्हणजे इंडिपेंडंट कॅन्डिडेट कितें काम करता, कितें मतां घेता, ताचे वयल्यान जिखतलो कोण हें ठरतलें. पण ओवरऑल जे लोकांचे हें आसा तातूंत एक दयानंद सोपटेच हे कॅन्डिडेट स्ट्रॉंग आसा. ते उपरांत एक आसा तो आमचो पार्सेकर आसा. पार्सेकारान बऱ्यापैकी हें केलां आनी इट्स अ बंड कशें. आनी तिसरो जो कॅन्डिडेट आसा तो
जीत अरुणकर ऑफ MGP.
जीत आसा. ह्या हांच्या भितर फायट दिसता. मतां कोणाची म्हाका दिसता की BJPची वोट स्प्लीट जातली बिटवीन सोपटे अँड पार्सेकर. सो कोण मॅक्स जो कोण काडटलो. आतां पयलीं जीत म्हणटाले लोक, आतां लास्ट हाज्या मेरेन जिताचे कशें पावल्या होडी पळोवची पडटली. आनी सिमिलर जी हांगा आसा पेडण्यां आसा, पेडण्यां प्रवीण आर्लेकर स्ट्रॉंग कंटेंडर आसा. पयलींचो MJP मागीर BJPन ताका आपल्या वटेन फोडलो. बाकीचे आसा ते कोरगांवकर आसा, राजन कोरगांवकर जो MJPचो कॅन्डिडेट आसा, स्ट्रॉंग आसा. आनी हे म्हाका दिसता चड जी फायट डायरेक्ट फायट जातली ती हांच्या भितर फायट आसा. सो मदले जे कॅन्डिडेट आसा आनी 5-6 जाण आसा ते कितली मतां खाता आनी कोणाचे खातले ताचे वयल्यान ठरतले. ह्या दोगां भितरलो कोण जिखता.
No, Mandre is actually it's very interesting. You see, all the three candidates have reached the marriage hall to get married. We do not know who will ultimately get married. You see, Jeet is riding on a lot of support in that Mandre area because of the traditional MGP vote. But what is interesting is this Parsekar's contesting as an independent is going to be important because Parsekar will have a sizable number of votes, and he, as you said, he will draw the votes out of Dayanand Sapte. But on the other hand, Dayanand Sapte also has a lot of Congress votes there. So that is also very interesting there.
मांद्र्यात आणि एक जो फॅक्टर आसा तो थोडोसो कास्ट फॅक्टर जो आमी कितलोय ना म्हणलो तरी तो कास्ट फॅक्टर लास्ट मोमेंट येता. मांद्र्यात कास्ट फॅक्टर विल प्ले अगेन.
Also, do you think the Congress did the right thing by not ultimately the Congress won that seat last time. This time they don't even have a candidate there. So obviously it was a part of the arrangement with Goa Forward. But also the Congress, do you think it's strategically very good? And ask a question to Alexandra. Do you think it was strategically good for the Congress to not contest Mandre?
I think so, because that will allow it when GFP comes in the picture over there. It's a new party over there. It's a new candidate over there. And given that in the last by-election, Congress did quite badly.
Right.
Though they had put up one of their stronger, I mean, their long-serving workers over there.
Yes.
Then I think that this was a good move.
Coming to Bicholi, we'll just take these constituencies in
There are lots more leads coming in.
Shall we go there? Okay.
Yeah, because according to what our reporters are saying, Margaon Digambar is leading by 2,000 votes in the first round.
Okay,
which is no surprise.
Great. Okay, so I'll just go there quickly. That's okay. Whatever we have now, we know that BJP's Jayesh Salgaonkar is leading in Salegaon. Captain Viriato is leading from Daboli against Movin Godino right now. Jennifer Montserrat is leading in Talegaon. Then Vishwajit Rane, of course, is leading in Valpoi. Savitri Kaulekar, the independent candidate and the wife of Babu Kaulekar, is leading from Sangay. And that's what we have here. Digambar Kamath, as we just heard Alexandra say, is leading by about 2,000 votes in Margaon. So these are though these are early trends in Veli. Savio D'Souza, right? Savio D'Silva, yes. In Veli, the Congress candidate Savio D'Silva, he is also leading. See, though these are very early trends. In Kunkuli, Yuri Alamau is leading. In Kurchore, Yuri Alamau of the Congress is leading in Kunkuli. In Kurchore, Nilesh Cabral of the BJP, the power minister in the government, he is leading. Naveli. Naveli is interesting. Are we actually saying Naveli Aap is leading? Is that what
Aap is leading? That's what he.
That's very interesting. In Naveli, though again we prefix whatever we say by saying that these are early trends, but in Naveli, the Aam Aadmi Party, Pratima Coutinho of Aam Aadmi Party is actually leading. That actually is a seat which was a Congress seat earlier. Luizin Falero had won that seat. You have Valanka Alema of the Trinamool Congress, who's also contesting there. You have the Congress candidate also there, Avertan Furtad. So it's very interesting. In Kepe, again very important. In Kepe, the Congress is leading. Now Kepe is the seat of the Deputy Chief Minister of the BJP, Babu Kaulekar, and there the Congress is leading. That's very interesting. But though the Congress was expected to give Babu a very tough fight there, and the Kepe lead is also pretty significant. Okay, now we have some details coming in from Panjim, which I'm going to read out quickly. Our colleague Shweta Kamath is there at the Panjim counting station, and she is just giving this information. And I reckon these are votes, or these are leads. These are votes, I think.
Votes.
Yeah, so Babush Montserrat has got about 1167 votes so far. Elvis Combs of the Congress, he's got 343. Utpal Parikar is second with 784 votes. He's the independent candidate. Valmiki Naik of the AAP has got 83 votes so far. Very importantly, Nota has 26 votes. None of the above. Nota has 26 votes. And then a quick new information coming in. Chandrakant Shetty, who is the independent candidate in Bicholi, is leading. That's very important. Dr. Chandrakant Shetty, let me tell you, is a senior eye surgeon. He owns the Vision Hospital in Mapsa. And his entry into the fray came up as a surprise, but a lot of people are thinking that he might actually pull off a very surprise victory in Bicholi, which has other stalwarts like Naresh Sawal of the MPP there. So his lead is also important. Okay, some more information coming in from Aldona. These are confirmed EC figures, right, Rajesh? Okay. So Rajan Desai, editor then Dainik Herald, has just sent this information to us. So Carlos Ferreira, Advocate Carlos Ferreira of the Congress, he's second actually with 873 votes, narrowly behind Glenn Ticklow of the BJP. Kiran Kandolkar of the TMC is number 3 right now with 645 votes, and then there are the others who picked up a few votes here and there. But so that's where Aldona stands. So, well, a quick look or a quick analysis, a micro analysis of what's going on. See, Alexandra, even though they are early days, we always say, but the Congress seems to be pretty much in the race. And it's kind of ahead in constituencies which were earlier thought as done deals. Kepe, for instance, they're doing quite well. Sankli also, I think Dharmesh is going to do pretty well. So these are interesting trends.
See, so far there's nothing really major surprising over here. But while in Kepe, the Congress is leading. In Sanghe, where Babu Kavlekar's wife is independent, she's leading.
Yes.
So that is one thing. And the similar we're going to have probably in TV and Aldona. And Aldona seems to be pretty close at the moment in the first round itself.
Between Glenn and Carlos.
Yes, so we're going to have an interesting contest out over there.
At the same time, while we are telling everybody that these are early days yet, but let's take into account that they are early, but they are not too early. The reason being that the number of rounds that are going to be counted will be barely about 4 or 5. I don't think it's going to go up to between 5 and 7. So if the first and the second round is over, I would say almost 50% is of the counting is over. So we will figure out what to do now. In the sense that we'll figure out when to actually call the elections. Maybe after the 4th or 5th round, we'll have a pretty clear view of the polls. But let's also understand that let us not call any seat till the last vote is counted, because it will be very narrow in many places. There are a lot of things that are going to play. We will see if we can get to Clinton again. I'll just request my colleagues at the backstage where. Can we get to Clinton now? No? We're still trying. Okay. Till we get some more leads, let's look into
interesting that MGP is leading in at least 4 seats, which is entire Priol, Ponda, Madkai, and also Mandre.
Okay, Priol, Ponda, Madkai, and
Mandre.
Okay, that's interesting because see what happens is in Ponda is significant. Ponda is one seat where I personally, and after speaking to a lot of people, felt that Ketan Bhatikar would do pretty well because of a variety of factors. Because what's happening also, and we can use this as a discussion point, that you see many of the old, by old I don't necessarily mean it in a derogatory manner, but veterans, let's call them veterans. These veterans are either out of action or they are way past their peak efficiency date. You see, Luisine Falero is not contesting the election. Pratap Singh Rane is not contesting the election. Ravi Nayak, I would say that he obviously has more years behind him than in front of him in terms of politics. So he's pretty much in his sunset phase. Would you agree with this assumption, or this fact rather, that you see the newer Goa, the younger Goa, the newer Goa students, young professionals, and others are looking at the future and are looking at younger, fresher people to lead us into the future. And there are a lot of people in Goa now, the chunk of the votes, are within that 18 to 35, 40 age group. and they are the people who may not understand the legacy of a Rane or a Falero or a Ravi Nayak and so on and so forth. And because of which a lot of these veterans who are kind of fighting their 5th term or 6th term or 7th term, they're not realizing that the Goa fundamentally has changed, and people are looking at newer leadership. So when you have a Ketan Bhatikar doing well in Ponda, we don't know whether he'll win or not, but for discussion's sake, doing well in Ponda, it shouldn't surprise because the landscape of Goa is changing, don't you think?
I definitely agree that the youth are going to play a major role, and that they are voting in a very different manner in which their parents and the other generation voted. Now, in our time, most of us, when we were young, we would be led by what the older generation was saying and how they would be voting. But that is definitely not happening now. They have their own reasons for choosing who they're going to vote for.
Correct.
And they will vote for whom they want, not because somebody else is telling them. And that is why I do feel that when we have these discussions, I'm not talking about studio, but when there are discussions outside and people say, oh no, that Sarpanch has 800 votes and that Sarpanch has some 600 votes.
Exactly.
I really don't believe that is working any longer.
Absolutely, correct.
It's a totally different political game now out there.
Yes.
And the social media is playing a major role where the youth are constantly on social media. They are getting their information over there.
Right.
And they vote the way they want, and we are going to see it this election.
Correct. So it's not so much about whether it's the BJP or the Congress. They're actually voting for.
They're looking at candidates.
Because of which you might have very surprising choices coming up. Rajin, your views on this?
तुम्ही व्हॅलिड पॉइंट रेज केला. हे जाणटे जे आसा तांचे म्हाका दिसता की इनिंग खूप वाडल्या काही जाणांची वाडत गेली आणि ह्या इलेक्शनाचे एक जर तुम्ही वेगळेपण जर पळयलें जाल्यार फर्स्ट टायम म्हाका दिसता इतले मॅक्झिमम न्यू फेसीस फर्स्ट टायम गोंयच्या हातून आयल्या इलेक्शनान आयल्या आणि म्हाका दिसता ऑलमोस्ट 75% तरी नवे आसा. हे बाय चॉयस म्हणल्यार जे भुरग्यांक जाय आशिल्ले तरुणांक जाय आशिल्ले तशें जालां हे फर्स्ट टायम. जरी आमी फाटल्या 2017 ते 2022 मेरेन खुबशे अशे पक्षांतरां पळयली, डिफेक्शनां पळयली, सगळें पळयलें, पूण ताचे जर बरी गजाल कितें घडलें तातूंतल्यान जाल्यार हे नवे फेसीस येवपाक एक चान्स मेळ्ळो. एस्पेशली काँग्रेसीन किंवा इवन बाकीचे ज्यो पार्टीज आसा तांणी नव्या लोकांक ह्या सगळ्या फ्रेन हाडले आनी एक निवडणुकीक एक बरो एक तांणी मोमेंटम दिलो, एक फुडें वचपा खातीर एक स्पीड दिली, लोकांक एक मोटिवेशन दिलें अशें म्हाका दिसता. तातूंतल्यान जे यूथ आसा तांकां एक बाबा जाणट्यांकच परत कित्याक दिवपाचें अशें एक जो प्रश्न येतालो तो आतां ह्या नव्या फेसांक लागून आतां तांकांय एक मोटिवेशन ह्या इलेक्शनान दिला.
A quick check whether we can go to Clinton or not. Are we good? Okay. Finally, viewers, I think we managed to establish contact with Clinton. Do bear with us because there are jammers in and around the election counting center, and sometimes network connectivity is pretty bad, because of which we are facing this trouble. So this more than the technicalities, I think it's the whole vagaries of how the counting process happens there, which leads to this. Okay, so Clinton, what do you have? Please speak. I'll cut completely to Clinton. Take me out of screen. Okay. Okay. We'll keep on going to Clinton and see what he has. But I think during the course of the morning we picked up a lot of visuals. We spoke to a lot of candidates coming in, and they expressed a lot of hope and anticipation. So I think we'll kind of play out that little segment before we carry on this discussion again. And I think that's important. Let's cut to that, guys. Hey, Freddy, come. What's going on here? What's going on? Why are we not cutting the
full majority, even then we have considered them. But BJP account कोणाक जर ह्या आसा न्ही जे कोणी आमच्या बरोबर येतात fall short of that and because of that we are campaigning like में रहने की कोई चर्चा हुई है?
ऐसा परिस्थिति नहीं आता है।
किसी ने संपर्क किया अपनी तरफ से आकर के आपसे?
सभी लोग संपर्क में है। गोवा छोटा स्टेट है, सभी लोग हमारे संपर्क में है।
एक बात ये निकल के सामने आ रही थी कि एमजीपी के साथ मीटिंग की कोशिश हुई भाजपा की, लेकिन एमजीपी के लोग फिलहाल कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं दे रहे। इसमें कितनी सच्चाई है?
ये आप क्या सोच रहे हैं? सच नहीं है, सच नहीं है। बीजेपी क्लियर मेजॉरिटी से आएगी, आप कल देखेंगे।
सिटी रवि जी, कल विश्वजीत राणे ने डीके शिवकुमार का स्टेटस रखा अपने मोबाइल पर, उसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
ऐसा नहीं है।
देखा वो स्क्रीनशॉट सबको वायरल हुआ है, उस पर आपका क्या कहना है?
प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप देखो
कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
क्या होता है देखो, उन्होंने पहले कांग्रेस में थे।
हाँ।
2017 छोड़ के आया कांग्रेस छोड़ के आया। चिंता मत करो, समय है तो और 4 लोगों को लेके आता है विश्वजीत राणे पार्टी के लिए। चिंता मत करो।
और 4 लोगों को लेके आ सकता है।
हाँ, उनका ताकत उतना है। चिंता का विषय
कभी इलेक्शन होने के बाद तुरंत लेके आएगा, क्या टाइम लेगा?
नेसेसिटी नहीं होता है। बीजेपी क्लियर मेजॉरिटी से आएगा। इफ नेसेसिटी ही विल डू दैट।
उनकी तैयारी है, उन्होंने तैयारी रखी है। वो
ऐसा परिस्थिति नहीं आता है।
रिझल्ट आहे तुमचं?
रेवपती वाटत तिथे हवं आता. थँक्यू
कुचडे जनता शाणे आसा आनी कुचड्यावयली जनता जे निवडून दिवपाक जाय ताका निवडून दितले. म्हाका खात्री आसा की हांवें 10 वर्सां लोकां खातीर काम केलां. ही 10 वर्सां व्यर्थ वयची ना आनी लोक आमचे वांगडा रावतले आनी भारतीय जनता पार्टीचे कमळ कुचड्यार फुलतले.
ओवरऑल गोवा कितले सीट? 22.
गोंयांत बीजेपीचो सरकार जातलो. फाटल्यान म्हणजे कोण आसा तो पळय आनी तेजे वांगडा पळयचे. पूण एक लक्षात उरपाक जाय की आमी जर पळयता की भारतीय जनता पार्टीचे जे गव्हर्मेंट आशिल्ले लास्ट 10 वर्सां खुबशे डेव्हलपमेंट केलें. हांव म्हणना की 100% डेव्हलपमेंट केल्या अश्यो गोश्टी ना, पूण लास्टाक ते सरकार आशिल्ले पूण खुबश्यो गोश्टी आमी फुडें व्हरपाक शकले. आज लोक अनेकदा आमकां भारतीय जनता पार्टीक कोल दितले आनी खुबश्यो गोश्टी जे बॅलन्स आसा ह्यो गोश्टी फुडें व्हरपाचें काम आमी करतले.
फाटल्यान आतां तुमकां जाय पडटलो आतां सरकार करपाक काय तुमी स्वताचे हेजेर करतले?
सरकार जेन्ना कळटा जे कोण लायक मायंडेड आमचे आसा, जे विचार आसा डेव्हलपमेंट करपाक वयचे,
एमजीपी सारखे
कोणाचे सारखे जावं ते आमी वांगडा रावन काम करतले न्ही. सरकार म्हणटाले ते 40 आमदार सरकार जाता, तितून रुलींग सरकार ऑपोजिशन आसता, पूण कोण ऑपोजिशनार रावंक सोदता? सो रुलिंगा भितर जे सगळे आमी रावतले, जे डेव्हलपमेंट करपाक जाय तेजे खातीर आमी रावतले सगळे.
निलेश बाब, तुम्ही फाटी सांगले ऑपोजिशन युनायट जावन तुमच्या अगेन्स्ट काम केलं आणि तुमची मार्जिन देवतली. अजूनही तुम्ही त्याच गजालीचेर
ना, म्हाका दिसना की मार्जिन देवपाचे प्रश्न ना. कितें आसता पळय, म्हाजें वोटींग जे मार्जिन आसा ते सदांच लास्ट 2 टर्म जे आशिल्ले तितलेच उरतले आनी मार्जिन देवपाक जे आसा, मार्जिन देंवतले ना देंवतले, लोक ऑपोजिशन एकठांय जाल्यार म्हजे एगेन्स्ट जो व्यवहार तेणी केला हेजेर आतां आज कळटलें कितें आसा तें.
22+ तुम्ही अजूनही
आमचे सरकार करतले. हे व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. सरकार 22+ जावं 28+ वा 40+, हे प्लस म्हणटा ते फिगर सरकार करपाचो प्लस फिगर आसता तो हो सरकार आमी करतले. डबल इंजीन आनी सिंगल इंजीन, एक इंजीन जी दोनी आसा, सरकार लोकां खातीर काम करपाक जाय आनी म्हाका खात्री आसा की भारतीय जनता पार्टीचे मोदीचे सरकार गोंयांत खुबशे डेव्हलपमेंट दिल्लें आसा आनी हेजे फुडें दितले.
नमस्कार सगळ्यांक सुप्रभात, बरी सकाळ, नवी सकाळ येवची अशा खातीर मंगो पक्ष, तृणमूल ह्या सगळ्यांनी एकत्रीत जावन गोंयांत नविदाद दिवची म्हणून प्रयत्न केला. यंग जनरेशन जे फायटी पडत आसा गेली 15 वर्सां ते पळोवन दुख्ख जाता. युवा वर्ग, युवती हे सगळी फाटी पडीत आशिल्ली आनी त्या खातीरूच ही नवी सकाळ दिवपा खातीर आमी मुखार करिल्ले. मतदारांनी परिवर्तन करचें अशें आमी मागिल्लें. मतदारांनी परिवर्तन केलां की ना हें तुमकां 12 पर्यंत कळून येता. हांव इतलेंच सांगतां, मोगो पक्ष स्थापन करता आसतना गरीब जनतेक आदार दिवपा खातीर, शेतकऱ्यांक आदार दिवपा खातीर स्थापन जाता. आनी आज काही प्रमाणात बरे दीस मोगो पक्षाक आयिल्ले आसात. ज्यो गोष्टी आमी प्रचार सभेत सांगल्या त्यो सगळ्यो पर्सनली इम्प्लिमेंट करपा खातीर म्हजो प्रयत्न आसा. 100% हांव थंपिंग मेजॉरिटीन ह्या फावटी निवडून येतलो. प्रत्येक फावटी मडकय मतदारसंघात म्हज्या मतदारांनी म्हाका भरपूर मतां दिल्या, त्या बद्दल दुमत ना. ह्याही फावटी तांचे पर्यंत पावनासतना सबंद कार्यकर्ते, सरपंच, पंच, स्पेशली बाब मितील ढवळीकर आनी ताचे बरोबरचे सगळे यंग जनरेशन मुखार सरून म्हजो प्रचार केला. त्या खातीर हायस्ट मार्जीन परत एकदां म्हाका मेळटलें अशें म्हाका दिसता. हांवें इतलेंच सांगलां की आमी परिवर्तनाची निवडणूक लडिल्ली आसा आनी परिवर्तनाचे जर लोकांनी, मतदारांनी जर परिवर्तन केलां आसत आमकां 9 सीट मेळटले.
जर तुमकां परिवर्तन जालें तुमचें आनी तुमी फाटल्यान सुरी मारल्या मनशाक तुमी सपोर्ट करतले काय कितें? त्याक ऑलरेडी तुमकां 2-3 फावट अशेंच जालां की फाटल्यान सुरी घालीत जाल्यार तुमी तांकां सपोर्ट करतात.
आमची 3-3:30 मिटींग आसा. आमी आनी TMC बसून ह्यो गोष्टी फायनल करतले. काल म्हजो प्रुडंटाचेर इंटरव्यू जाला, तातूंत हांवें स्पश्ट सांगलां की TMC आनी आमी एकठांय जावन जें डिसिजन घेतलें तें दोनूय पक्षाक बंधनकारक.
गेल्ले फावटी तुवें कंटिन्युअसली सांगलां आपूण BJP एगेन्स्ट हें इलेक्शन लढला म्हणून, पूण हे फावटी तुमी BJP
मॅन्डेट जर गव्हर्मेंटाक आमकां जर सारकें मेळत आसत जाल्यार ह्यो गोष्टी तुमी सांगल्या त्यो इजिली जाता. आनी परिवर्तन करून आमकां जर मॅन्डेट दिला जाल्यार ह्या प्रश्न
जशें हांवें पयलीं पासून सुरवातेर सांगत आसा, म्हाका विश्वास आसा म्हज्या कुळी देवाचेर, मेल्ले गेल्याचेर आनी म्हज्या लोकांचेर. ताणें म्हाका आयज पर्यंत सांबाळला आनी ह्या फावटी सांबाळटले. बरे लोकांनी साथ दिल्ली आसा आनी सुरवातेर सांगता हांव म्हणजे इंडियन इच्छा आसा. कितें मार्जीन मार्जीन बऱ्यापैकी मेळटली. हांव पयलीं पासून म्हणटा जे आज पर्यंत मार्जीन मेळना इतली मार्जीन मेळटली सुरवातेर म्हणटा, पूण हांव बऱ्यापैकी जिखतलो. म्हणजे लोकांचेर म्हाका पूर्ण विश्वास आसा. पार्टीक कितले सीट येतले? पार्टीक बऱ्यापैकी एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटीन आमी जिखता. सुरवातेपासून हो स्टेटमेंट करता की एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटीन हॅट्रिक करता, परत एक फावटी सरकार स्थापन करता भाजप.
तुम्ही म्हणता सगळ्यांत चड मार्जीन हेवरच मेळटलें तुमकां, जाल्यार हे BJP फॅक्टर काय बाबू फॅक्टर?
पळय कितें जाता, आयज पर्यंत हांव जे पयलीं आनी इलेक्शनां लडयला ते दुसरे पक्षाचे आतां भाजप पक्ष खंयचो आसूं, म्हाका म्हणजे लोकांचे विश्वास आसा. ज्या ज्या जाग्यार हांव आसा लोकांक म्हाका साथ दिल्ली आसा. पक्षाचो साथ आसा, सगळ्यांचो साथ आसा, पूण लोकांचेर म्हाका विश्वास आसा, देवाचेर म्हाका विश्वास आसा, मेल्ले गेल्याचेर विश्वास आसा आनी लोकांचेर खास करून म्हाका लोकांचेर विश्वास, जेणे करून म्हजो गव्हर्मेंट फॉर्म करता. पयलीं पासून हांव सांगत आसा, आज परत कोण सांगता, गव्हर्मेंट भाजप फॉर्म करता, एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटीन भाजप येता. जर येदा कदाचित जर गरज ह्या पडली जाल्यार सुद्दां अपक्ष आनी बाकीच्या लोकांचो साथ मेळटलो. पूण भाजपा सत्ता परत हॅट्रिक करता. गोंयांत इतिहास जातलो. गोंयांक आज पर्यंत जे हॅट्रिक कोणाक सरकार जालें ना, 3 गोंयांक कंटिन्यू सरकार केन्ना गेलो ना, हो ह्या फावटी भाजप सरकार.
देवाची साथ आसा, तशीच सांगली मतदारसंघाचे जे लोक आसात तेंची म्हाका भरपूर साथ आसा आनी म्हाका आयज विश्वास आसा की हांव आयज निवडणूक निश्चित जिखतलें आनी भरपूर मार्जिनान जिखतलें ही म्हाका खात्री आसा.
कितले मार्जीन कितले पडटलें? मार्जीन कितले?
BJP
सपोर्ट करतली? मॅडम BJP कॅन्डिडेटाक उडोवन BJP सपोर्ट करतली तुमी?
हांव म्हाजे निवडून येतरीच म्हाजे जे समर्थक आसात, जे सपोर्टर आसात, तेंचे विचार घेवन निर्णय घेतलो.
आनी येयले जाल्यार तुमी पावरान आसतले काय ऑपोजिशनान बसतले? कशें कितें
ते कशें आसा, 40 मतदारसंघाक गोंयचे जनतेन जो कौल दिल्लो आसा त्या कौला बरोबर येतलो. कसे नंबर घेतले तेजेर आसा ना जाल्यार ऑपोजिशना वचपाचें.
सर एकंदरीत ट्रिपल पॉईंट जावपाची शक्यता चड म्हटल्यार एमजीपी तुमचे मदीं आनी बीजेपीचे मदीं, सो तितून तुमकां दिसता बाजी मारतलो तुमी, लोकांचो कौल खंयचे वाटेन वयतलो दिसता?
हय, आमी कॅल्क्युलेशन केलां. 4000 मार्जिनान आमी सावड्डे मतदारसंघात निवडून येतले इंडिपेंडंट कॅन्डिडेट.
सर कोणाक सपोर्ट करता? प्रिफरन्स
आमी पळया नंबर कशे येतले आनी नंबर आयले तेजेर येतले, ना जाल्यार ऑपोजिशना उरतले. ऑपोजिशना रावन कामाय करूंक मेळटा बऱ्यापैकी.
भारतीय जनता पार्टीन बी तुमकां ऑफर दिली तुमी?
ना ना, सध्या आमी तशें कांय विचारना. नंबर पळयता, जे 40 मतदारसंघात जनतेन कसो कौल दिला तेजेर वचपाचें.
कशें पळयता तुमी? कितले मार्जिन?
4000 आमचे मार्जिन आसतले. लीड आमची आसतली 4000 सावड्डे मतदारसंघातले डेफिनेटली.
गोंयान कोणाचें गव्हर्मेंट फॉर्म जालें अशें तुमकां दिसता?
आता तेच न्ही, असं पेटी बंद आसा, आता रोखडेच तुमकां दितले. ऑल द बेस्ट.
आयडिया ना म्हणटा तुमकां?
ना ना.
ऑल द बेस्ट.
When we were in the full majority, even then we have considered them.
But BJP एका वाटेन
कोणाक जर हें आसा न्ही, जे कोणी आमच्या बरोबर येता तांच्या बरोबर घेवन वतले. That doesn't mean that we will fall short of that, and because of that we are campaigning like that.
में रहने की कोई चर्चा हुई है?
ऐसा परिस्थिति नहीं आता है.
किसी ने संपर्क किया अपनी तरफ से आकर के आपसे?
सभी लोग संपर्क में है. गोवा छोटा स्टेट है, सभी लोग हमारा संपर्क में है.
एक बात ये निकल के सामने आ रही थी कि एमजीपी के साथ मीटिंग की कोशिश हुई थी भाजपा की, लेकिन एमजीपी के लोग फिलहाल कोई रिस्पांस नहीं दे रहे. इसमें कितनी सच्चाई है?
ये आप क्या सोच रहे हैं, ये सच नहीं है, सच नहीं है. बीजेपी क्लियर मेजॉरिटी से आएगा, आप कल देखिए.
सिटी रवि जी, कल विश्वजीत राणे ने डीके शिवकुमार का स्टेटस रखा अपने मोबाइल पर, उसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
ऐसा नहीं है.
देखा वो स्क्रीनशॉट सबको वायरल हुआ है, उस पर आपका क्या कहना है?
प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप देखो.
कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
क्या होता है देखो, उन्होंने पहले कांग्रेस में थे. 2017 छोड़ के आया कांग्रेस छोड़ के आया. चिंता मत करो, समय है तो और 4 लोगों को लेके आता है विश्वजीत राणे पार्टी के लिए. चिंता मत करो.
और 4 लोगों को लेके आ सकता है.
हाँ, उनका ताकत उतना है. चिंता का विषय.
कभी इलेक्शन होने के बाद तुरंत लेके आएगा, क्या टाइम लेगा?
नेसेसिटी नहीं होता है. बीजेपी क्लियर मेजॉरिटी से आएगा. इफ नेसेसिटी ही विल डू दैट.
उनकी तैयारी है, उन्होंने तैयारी रखी है. वो
ऐसा परिस्थिति नहीं आता है.
रिजल्ट आहे तुमचं?
रेवकोती वाट तिथे हवं आता. थँक्यू
कुचड्या जनता शाणे आसा आनी कुचड्या वयली जनता जे निवडून दिवपाक जाय ताका निवडून दितले. म्हाका खात्री आसा की हांवें 10 वर्सां लोकां खातीर काम केलां. ही 10 वर्सां व्यर्थ वयची ना आनी लोक आमचे वांगडा रावतले आनी भारतीय जनता पार्टीचे कमळ कुचड्यार फुलतले.
ओवरऑल गोवा कितले सीट? 22.
गोंयान बीजेपीचो सरकार जातलो, फाटल्यान म्हणजे कोण आसा तो पळय आनी तेजे वांगडा पळयचे. पूण एक लक्षान उरपाक जाय की आमी जर पळयता की भारतीय जनता पार्टीचे जे गव्हर्मेंट आशिल्ले लास्ट 10 वर्सां खुबशे डेव्हलपमेंट केलें. हांव म्हणना की 100% डेव्हलपमेंट केल्या अश्यो गोश्टी ना, पूण लास्टाक ते सरकार आशिल्ले पूण खुबश्यो गोश्टी आमी फुडें व्हरपाक शकले. आज लोक अनेकदा आमकां भारतीय जनता पार्टीक कौल दितले आनी खुबश्यो गोश्टी जे बॅलन्स आसा ह्यो गोश्टी फुडें व्हरपाचें काम आमी करतले.
फाटल्यान आतां तुमकां जाय पडटलो आतां सरकार करपाक, काय तुमी स्वताचे हेजेर करतले?
सरकार जेन्ना कळटा जे कोण लायक मायंडेड आमचे आसा, जे विचार आसा डेव्हलपमेंट करपाक गोंयचे,
एमजीपी सारखे
कोणाचे सारखे जावं ते आमी वांगडा रावन काम करतले न्ही. सरकार म्हणटाले ते 40 आमदार सरकार जाता, तितून रुलींग सरकार ऑपोजिशन आसता, पूण कोण ऑपोजिशनार रावंक सोदता? सो रुलिंगा भितर जे सगळे आमी रावतले, जे डेव्हलपमेंट करपाक जाय तेजे खातीर आमी रावतले सगळे.
निलेश बाब, तुम्ही फाटी सांगले ऑपोजिशन युनायट जावन तुमच्या अगेन्स्ट काम केलं आणि तुमची मार्जिन देंवतली,
अजूनही तुम्ही त्याच गजालीचेर
ना म्हाका दिसना की मार्जीन दिवपाचे प्रश्न ना. कितें आसता पळय म्हाजें वोटींग जे मार्जीन आसा ते सदांच लास्ट 2 टर्म जे आशिल्ले तितलेच उरतले आनी मार्जीन देंवपाक जे आसा मार्जीन देंवतले ना देंवतले लोक ऑपोजिशन एकठांय जाल्यार म्हजे एगेन्स्ट जो वेव्हार तेणी केला हेजेर आतां आज कळटलें कितें आसा तें.
22+ तुम्ही अजूनही
आमचे सरकार करतले हे व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. सरकार 22+ जावं 28+ वा 40+ हे प्लस म्हणटा ते फिगर सरकार करपाचो प्लस फिगर आसता तो हो सरकार आमी करतले. डबल इंजीन आणि सिंगल इंजीन हे इंजीन जी दोन्ही आसा सरकार लोकां खातीर काम करपाक जाय आनी म्हाका खात्री आसा की भारतीय जनता पार्टीचे मोदीचे सरकार गोंयांत खुबशे डेव्हलपमेंट दिल्लें आसा हेजे फुडें दितले.
नमस्कार सगळ्यांक सुप्रभात. बरी सकाळ नवी सकाळ येवची अशा खातीर मगो पक्ष तृणमूल ह्या सगळ्यांनी एकत्रीत जावन गोंयांत संविधान दिवची म्हणून प्रयत्न केला. यंग जनरेशन जे फाटीं पडत आसा गेली 15 वर्सां तें पळोवन दुख्ख जाता. युवा वर्ग युवती हे सगळीं फाटीं पडीत आशिल्ली आनी त्या खातीरूच ही नवी सकाळ दिवपा खातीर आमी मुखार सरिल्ले. मतदारांनी परिवर्तन करचें अशें आमी मागिल्लें. मतदारांनी परिवर्तन केलां की ना हें तुमकां 12 पर्यंत कळून येतलें. हांव इतलेंच सांगतां मगो पक्ष स्थापन करता आसतना गरीब जनतेक आदार दिवपा खातीर शेतकऱ्यांक आदार दिवपा खातीर स्थापन जाता आनी आज काही प्रमाणात बरे दीस मगो पक्षाक आयिल्ले आसात. ज्यो गोष्टी आमी प्रचार सभेत सांगल्या त्यो सगळ्यो पर्सनली इम्प्लिमेंट करपा खातीर म्हजो प्रयत्न आसा. 100% हांव थंपिंग मेजॉरिटीन ह्या फावटी निवडून येतलो. प्रत्येक फावटी मडकय मतदारसंघात म्हज्या मतदारांनी म्हाका भरपूर मतां दिल्या त्या बद्दल दुमत ना. ह्याही फावटी तांचे पर्यंत पावनासतना संबंद कार्यकर्ते सरपंच पंच स्पेशली बाब नितीन ढवळीकर आनी ताचे बरोबरचे सगळे यंग जनरेशन मुखार सरून म्हजो प्रचार केला. त्या खातीर हायस्ट मार्जीन परत एकदां म्हाका मेळटलें अशें म्हाका दिसता. हांवें इतलेंच सांगलां की आमी परिवर्तनाची निवडणूक लडिल्ली आसा आनी परिवर्तनाचे जर लोकांनी मतदारांनी जर परिवर्तन केलां आसत आमकां 9 सीट मेळटली.
जर तुमकां परिवर्तन जालें तुमचें आनी तुमी फाटल्यान सुरी मारल्या मनशाक तुमी सपोर्ट करतले काय कितें? ऑलरेडी तुमकां 2-3 फावट अशेंच जालां की फाटल्यान सुरी घालीत आसा तुमी तांकां सपोर्ट करतात.
आमची 3-3:30 मिटींग आसा. आमी आनी TMC बसून ह्यो गोष्टी फायनल करतले. काल म्हजो प्रुडंटाचेर इंटरव्यू जाला तातूंत हांवें स्पश्ट सांगलां की TMC आनी आमी एकठांय जावन जें डिसिजन घेतलें तें दोनूय पक्षाक
बंधनकारक. गेल्ले फावटी तुवें कंटिन्युअसली सांगलां आपूण BJP एगेन्स्ट हें इलेक्शन लढलां म्हणून पूण हे फावटी तुमी BJP
मॅन्डेट जर गव्हर्मेंटाक आमकां जर सारकें मेळत आसत जाल्यार ह्यो गोष्टी तुमी सांगल्या त्यो इजिली जाता आनी परिवर्तन करून आमकां जर मॅन्डेट दिला जाल्यार ह्या प्रश्न
मुख्यमंत्री जशें हांवें पयलीं पासून सुरवातेर सांगत आसा म्हाका विश्वास आसा म्हज्या कुळी देवाचेर मेल्ले गेल्याचेर आनी म्हज्या लोकांचेर तेणी म्हाका आयज पर्यंत सांबाळ्ळा आनी ह्या फावटी सांबाळटले. बरे लोकांनी साथ दिल्ली आसा आनी सुरवातेक सांगता म्हणजे इंटेंट इतलें आसा. कितें मार्जीन कितें मार्जीन बऱ्यापैकी मेळटली. हांव पयलीं पासून म्हणटा जे आज पर्यंत मार्जीन मेळना इतली मार्जीन मेळटली सुरवातीक म्हणटा पूण हांव बऱ्यापैकी जिखतलो म्हणजे लोकांची म्हाका पूर्ण विश्वास आसा. पार्टीक कितले सीट येतले? पार्टीक बऱ्यापैकी एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटीन आमी जिखतले. सुरवातीक पासून हो स्टँडर्ड करता की एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटीन हॅट्रिक करता परत फुडें सरकार स्थापन करता. म्हाज्या
तुम्ही म्हणटा सगळ्यांत चड मार्जीन हे वर्स मेळटलें तुमकां जाल्यार हे BJP फॅक्टर काय बाबू फॅक्टर?
पळय कितें जाता आयज पर्यंत हांव गेली पयलीं आनी इलेक्शनां लडयला दुसऱ्या पक्षाचेर आतां भाजप पक्ष खंयचो आसूं म्हाका म्हज्या लोकांचेर विश्वास आसा ज्या ज्या जाग्यार हांव आसा लोकांक म्हाका साथ दिल्ली आसा, पक्षाचो साथ आसा, सगळ्यांचो साथ आसा, पूण लोकांचेर म्हाका विश्वास आसा, देवाचेर म्हाका विश्वास आसा, मेल्ले गेल्ल्याचेर विश्वास आसा आनी लोकांचेर खास करून म्हाका लोकांचेर विश्वास जेणे करून म्हजो विजय गव्हर्मेंट फॉर्म करता पयलीं पासून हांव सांगत आसा, आज पर्यंत कोण सांगता गव्हर्मेंट भाजप फॉर्म करता, एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटीन भाजप येता. जर येदा कदाचित जर गरज ह्या ठिकाणी पडली जाल्यार सुद्दां अपक्ष आनी बाकीच्या लोकांचो साथ मेळटलो. पूण भाजपा सत्ता परत हॅट्रीक करता. गोंयांक इतिहास जातलो. गोंयांक आज पर्यंत जे हॅट्रीक कोणाक सरकार जालें ना, 3 वेळा कंटिन्यू सरकार केन्ना दिलें ना, हो ह्या फावटी भाजप सरकार.
देवाची साथ आसा तशीच सांगी मतदारसंघाचे जे लोक आसात तेंची म्हाका भरपूर साथ आसा आनी म्हाका आज विश्वास आसा की हांव आयज निवडणूक निश्चित जिखतलें आनी भरपूर मार्जिनान जिखतलें ही म्हाका खात्री आसा.
कोणाक सपोर्ट करताले? सांगता कितलें मार्जीन कितलें पडटलें? मार्जीन कितलें?
मार्जिन घेवन हांव दुकोन येतलें.
बीजेपी सपोर्ट करतली?
मॅडम बीजेपी कॅन्डिडेटाक उडोवन बीजेपीक सपोर्ट करतले तुमी?
हांव म्हाजे निवडून येतरीच म्हाजे जे समर्थक आसात ते सपोर्टर आसात तेंचे विचार घेवन निर्णय घेतलो.
आनी येयले जाल्यार तुमी पावरान आसतले काय ऑपोजिशनान बसतले? कशें कितें
ते कशें आसा 40 मतदारसंघाक गोंयचे जनतेन जो कौल दिल्लो आसा त्या कौला बरोबर येतलो. कशें नंबर येतले तेजेर आसा नाजाल्यार ऑपोजिशनाक वचपाचें.
एकंदरीत ट्रिपल फायट जावपाची शक्यता चड म्हटल्यार एमजीपी तुमचे मदीं आनी बीजेपीचे मदीं, सो तितून तुमकां दिसता बाजी मारतले तुमी? लोकांचो कौल खंयचे वाटेन वयतलो दिसता?
हय, आमी कॅल्क्युलेशन केलां. 4000 मार्जिनान आमी सावड्डे मतदारसंघात निवडून येतले इंडिपेंडंट कॅन्डिडेट.
सो कोणाक सपोर्ट करता? प्रिफरन्स
आमी पळोवया नंबर कशे येतले आनी नंबर आयले तेजेर येतले, ना जाल्यार ऑपोजिशनाक उरतले. ऑपोजिशनाक रावन कामाय करूंक मेळटा बरें.
भारतीय जनता पार्टीन बी तुमकां ऑफर दिली तुमी घेतली?
ना सद्या आमी तशें कांय
निवडून आल्यानंतर काय भूमिका घेणार आहेत? बघा, राज्याच्या हिताच्या दृष्टीनं जे काय आवश्यक असेल हे मी निश्चित करीन. तर तुमकां कोण मेळपाक बी येयल्ले तुमकडे? तुमच्यासारखे कितले जाण मेळटात फॉर्म करपाक सपोर्ट मागपाक? येवंक नाका.
ही अग्निपरीक्षा आसा अशें दिसता तुमकां?
ना, अग्निपरीक्षा न्ही. खरं म्हणजे भाजपाक अशी ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी केन्नाच मेळूंक ना. कारण ऑल द टायम कशें जाय, एंटी बीजेपी ही काँग्रेसीक मेळटाली. फॉर द फर्स्ट टायम म्हाका दिसता एंटी बीजेपी वोट्स वेर स्प्लिटेड इंटू 3-4 स्प्लिंटर ग्रुप्स आणि त्यामुळे बीजेपीक स्वीप करपाक अत्यंत बरी संदी असली. विथ मी एंड प्लस पार्टीज फिनान्शियल सपोर्ट ऑल्सो.
सर, पक्ष नसलो हो खंत की राग आसा सध्या आताच्या घडीत?
हांव व्हडलो राग धरना. पूण खंत निश्चित आसा की एखाद्या मनशाक इतले एसोसिएशन आसून थट्ट करून कुशीक उडोवप हो खंत ही निश्चित आसा. म्हणजे अशें पक्षान करूंक जायना अशें म्हाका दिसता.
सर, तुम्ही सपोर्ट करतले आता
जिखलेले बीजेपीक वयतले? वाय हायपोथिकेशन पळया बरें कितें खंत ना म्हटलें, राग ना म्हटलें न्ही. ना रे बाबा. तुम्ही राग ना म्हटलें न्ही, पूण खंत आसा. म्हणजे हांवें उबारलो ह्या पक्षाक, म्हणजे म्हाजेर आयली म्हणटकच आय एम रेडी टू फेस, नो प्रॉब्लम. पूण अशें जावंक जायना सामान्यपणे कार्यकर्त्याचेर.
आयज कावंटींग आसा डे आनी कितें पळयता, कितें सांगपाक जाय तुमकां?
स्मायल पयल्या प्रमाण कळटा आसतलें तुका. रिजल्ट्स आर दे ऑलरेडी. इट इज जस्ट 5 वर्सांची मेहनत आयज ओपन जावपाची आसा. थँक्यू.
Sir, what do you see today is a counting day and what do you feel about this?
It is definitely a new beginning for the politics of Goa. From tomorrow, we will have a government that will work for the people, and there is only one party which will do that, that is Aam Aadmi Party. We are fully confident that we are forming the next government of Goa.
We're all so excited and looking forward. Thank you to all the people who have voted and whatever the result may be.
Or getting about 2,000 votes over and above that.
How have you seen on the last 10 years in the your government in Goa?
The last 10 years, I have been in the government for the last 2.5 years. A lot of difficulties, I would say, have been faced by this government.
Yes, contender for government formation. We are not calling things yet because it's not a clear race, but the Congress is doing amazingly well in many of the constituencies. The breaking news at this hour is important because the Chief Minister Pramod Sawant is trailing in Santli. The two Deputy Chief Ministers, Babu Kaulekar and Babu Ajgaonkar, are both trailing from Kepe and Margao respectively. And the Congress is not doing too badly in other constituencies as well. I'll just quickly take off from where I left off. It's a mix of various constituencies. In Kankon, Jana Bhandari, the veteran congressman, is leading by a small margin. Porvory, Rohan County is leading by about 1,100 votes. In Perne, what is important here is Rajan Korgaonkar, who is the MGP candidate, leading marginally. MGP is also doing pretty well, like, apart from Matkai and Priol, they're doing well in Mandre and Ponda as well, in Perne and Ponda as well. In Mandre also, Jeet Arolkar is expected to do well. What is important here is that Michael Lobo, of course, of the Congress is also leading in Kalangut, and Carlos Ferreira of the Congress is leading in Aldona. These are all seats where the Congress is gaining. In TV, a bit of a surprise, Kiran Khandolkar's wife, Kavita, who was supposed to, was a frontline runner, is behind. Neelkant Haldankar of the BJP is leading there. In Saligaon again, you have Kedar Naik of the Congress, who's actually ahead by about 400 odd votes. He's got about 1643 votes, as opposed to Jayesh Salgaonkar, a former minister in the previous cabinet. He's behind by 400 votes. So Kedar is ahead. And Kedar is ahead after round 2. That's significant. Kedar Naik is ahead after round 2. The TV figures that I gave you a little earlier was at the end of round 1. I still do not have round 2 on my system yet. As far as the crucial Panjim seat is concerned, after round 2, Babush Montserrat has got 1989 votes, and his nearest competitor Utpal Parikar has got 1647 votes. So Utpal is about 300 odd votes, but doing pretty well. That is one seat where the Congress has not done too well. Elvis Combs is number 3 and AAP is not quite in the picture. It is a neck-to-neck fight between Utpal Parikar and Babush Montserrat. In Perne, again, the situation is getting a little stronger for the MGP. I just spoke about the MGP first round, sorry, the Perne first round. In the second round, I think Rajan Korgaonkar, Rajanji has consolidated his position a little bit more, but it's still too close to call because Praveen Arlikar is breathing down his neck, as it were, with 1842 votes as opposed to 1978 votes of Rajan Korgaonkar of the MGP. In San Andre is a very, very interesting constituency where the revolutionary Goans is expected to do very well, and you may well have a very, very big upset there. Because Viresh Borkar of the revolutionary Goans is only marginally behind, about 20 odd votes, less than 20 votes behind Francis Silveira of the MGP, 18 votes to be precise. And we must discuss a little bit about this. We'll come back to San Andre. We'll just quickly go through all the results and then go back to the San Andre and focus a little bit on that. Okay. Now, quick summary of Kalangut. Again, we just go back to Kalangut. Joseph Sequeira has 491 votes of Joseph Sequeira of the BJP. I keep forgetting because there's so many party changes in Kalangut. One has to pause to think. Michael Lobo of the Congress 1676. Roshan Matthias of the Goencho Court Party, Goencho Sabiman Party, 41 votes. Ricard D'Souza, the Maverick, who promised to give flats to every voter, has got 10 votes. Okay, now what is also very interesting is, and while we are talking about revolutionary goals, a very important piece of information given by our colleague Castle Miranda is that among the postal ballots, the revolutionary goals has got the second highest postal ballots in a constituency like Nuve. So these are signs. These are not
These are not clear indication, but these are signs that there is a bit of a shift there happening. Mandre round 2. Dayanand Sopte 1451 votes. Jeet Arolkar clearly ahead with 1710 votes. And Lakshmikant Parsekar is trailing with 1097 votes. So Jeet Arolkar of the NGP ahead in the crucial constituency of Mandre. In Sankli, this is big news coming in Sankli. And I said that in the beginning of the hour when I got back. But in Sankli, what is very critical, and please hear this again and again, pause, because if this holds, this could be the biggest news of this election. Dharmesh Saglani, note the name, Dharmesh Saglani of the Congress is more than 400 votes ahead of Chief Minister Dr. Pramod Sawant. I'll say that again. Dharmesh Saglani votes ahead of Chief Minister Pramod Sawant. Though this was in the air and people knew that Pramod Sawant would have a tough fight, but Pramod Sawant is 400 odd votes in round 1 behind Dharmesh Saglani. We just saw visuals of Pramod Sawant walking out of the counting center. We do not know what that meant, but he obviously has a lot of talking and discussing to do. And introspection, of course. But again, as we say, we are not calling the election yet. It's too early to call. But a 400 vote deficit in round 1 is something that is not trivial. Now we come to well, Sanandre we've already spoken about, but we can revisit the Sanandre phenomenon. 1660 votes Viresh Borkar. Francis Silvera has gone ahead a little bit. So Viresh was breathing down Francis Silvera's neck, but Francis seems to have got a little bit of breathing space now. So he's a little ahead, but nevertheless, Rajanji, tell us a little bit about the Sanandre phenomenon.
Sanandre मतदारसंघात जी फायट आशिल्ली कॅन्डिडेटच्या खातीर एक सिल्वेरा, दुसरो काँग्रेसचो ज्यांनी लास्ट मुवमेंट आंतोनियो लिनो फर्नांडीस ताका खूब लेट टिकेट डिक्लेअर जाल्या. जगदीश भोबे हो क्लेम करतालो जाका एक्चुअली थंय अजित बकाल हाका टिकेट मेळपाची आशिल्ली. जी TMCची टिकेट जगदीश भोबेक मेळ्ळी आनी तो जितली क्लेम करतालो ताका वोट जर आतां पळयल्या जे फर्स्ट राउंडाक जी वोटिंग जालां ताका कांय वोट मेळूना. हांव सदांच एक गजाल सांगतालो की विरेश बोरकार म्हणून जाल्यार ह्या पयलींच्या डिबेटाकूय हांवें सांगलां की विरेश बोरकार हो स्ट्रॉंग कंटेंडर आसा आनी कोणें तो सदांच ताका कोणें तितलो हें धरुना, कन्सिडर करुना. पण ताचें कारण अशें की लास्ट मुवमेंट जे मेजर हें आशिल्ले काँग्रेसचे आसूं BJPचे आसूं ते सगळ्यांनी हे दोग जाण म्हणजे सिल्वेर नाका, भोबे नाका आनी दुसरो जो आंतोनियो आसा तो नाका अशें म्हटलें आनी सगळ्यांनी हें केलां की विरेश बोरकाराक मतां दिया. सिल्वेराचे आपले आसाच, तो सिटींग MLA प्लस बाकीचे ताणें आपल्या पद्दतीन आपली वोट दवरपाचो हें केल्लो आनी थोडीशी ताका इनकम्बन्सी आशिल्ली, एंटी इनकम्बन्सी, स्ट्रॉंग एंटी इनकम्बन्सी सिल्वेराक आशिल्ली. ते सगळ्याचो फायदो आनी लोकल बॉय, लोकल हे सेंटिमेंट्स ताका लागून विरेश बोरकाराक लास्ट मुवमेंट म्हाका दिसता लास्ट एक 8-10 दीस आसतना लोक हळूहळू ताच्या वटेन वचपाक लागले, ताका वोटिंग करा म्हणून सांगपाक लागले, ताचो प्रचार करपाक लागले लोक. आनी हे TMCत जे लोक बेजार आशिल्ले, काँग्रेसीत जे लोक बेजार आशिल्ले, BJPत जे लोक बेजार आशिल्ले तांची मतां विरेश बोरकार आतां निवडून येतलो काय ना खबर ना, पण इतली मतां घेवप म्हणल्यार सुद्दां ताणें आपले एक्झिस्टन्स आनी आपली हें दाखयल्या.
Okay, right now let's look at the broad picture. I think the broad picture is the BJP and the Congress are both leading in about 17 odd seats. That might change a little bit here and there. But broadly speaking, the BJP and the Congress are both leading in about 17 seats right now. The MGP is doing pretty well because the MGP is certainly leading in Mandre, Madkai, Priol and Ponda. So now let's look at it this way. If the Congress does as well as it does now, and Alexandre is saying that it might actually get a majority, we'll kind of see about that, though that indications are always there. But even if the Congress gets about 15 to 16 seats, what is interesting is what the MGP will do. See, what is very clear at this point of time, in maybe the halfway stage of counting, is that the MGP is going to play a very important part.
We do not know what the TMC will do, because the TMC is not ahead in any seat so far. But what is important is that the MGP on its own may pick up about 4 seats, can pick up even 5 seats. Now, if the MGP picks up about 5 seats, it's going to cause problems for both BJP and the Congress. I'll tell you why. Because Sudhin Dawlikar and my colleagues will bear me out, is that Sudhin Dawlikar is not an easy person to deal with. If he gets 5 seats, his ambitions of becoming chief minister are going to absolutely explode, and he's going to convince himself that he should be chief minister and nothing less. Because if he gets about 5 seats and the Congress gets about 16 seats, Sudhin Dawlikar will not want to be kingmaker, he will want to be king. Now, the next government, if the Congress does not get a clear majority, the next government will completely hinge around Sudhin Dawlikar's vision, or Sudhin Dawlikar's hope and dream of becoming chief minister. If he gets those 5 seats, he will not settle for anything else than becoming chief minister in a MGP-led government backed by the Congress. That's point number 1. I'll just finish. Point number 2, the BJP, in its desperation not to lose Goa, let's look at it this way. While the Congress wants to form a government, the desperation of the BJP always is more than the Congress. The BJP will go to any lengths and make any sacrifices in a desperate bid to get power. We've seen it in other states in the country. We saw it in Uttarakhand, we saw it in Manipur, we saw it in all these places. So my point of view here is that the BJP, in order to remain in power, might even go to the extent of telling Sudhin Dawlikar, okay, you become chief minister and the BJP will back you. At least for some time. The BJP is very, very sharp and clever about these things. They will buy that time. Let Sudhin Dawlikar rule for about 5 to 6 months. Again, to viewers, I must add that these are all hypothetical discussions right now, but we are looking at scenarios that could unfold. Okay, this is not definite, but these are scenarios that could unfold. Between the Congress and the BJP is more likely to be Sudhin Dawlikar's comfort factor because of BJP's own desperation. I will want both you and Alexander to comment on this.
So, म्हाका दिसता की आता CM is trailing. Both deputy CMs, they are also trailing.
Yes.
So, situation अशी आसा की ही जी गजाल आसा पयली BJPक डिमोरलायज करतली. आणि तुम्ही सांगला तशें सगळे BJP जितले पॉसिबल आसा ते सगळे करतले. एक वेळ ते सुदिनाक सांगतले तू CM जा, आम्ही तुका सपोर्ट करता, पण ते केन्ना एटलिस्ट 13-14 सीट हे BJPक मेळचे पडटले. 10चे सकयल जर BJP उरली जाल्यार BJPक तेंय करपाक मेळचें ना. MGPचे येवन मॅक्स 4 ते 5 इतले मेरेन
BJP will allow MGP to lead.
पण केन्ना जर पॉसिबल आसा जाल्यार म्हणजे दोगांचे मेळून 10-10 म्हणजे समजा अशें धरया की BJPचे 10 आयले आनी एक 4 MGPचे 14च जाता. बाकीचे जे आसा ते ऑपोजिशनात उरतात चडशे. सो व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट. BJP ट्राय करतले आपले बरें. आता तांकां एक ऑप्शन मोठे मेजर ऑप्शन आसा की परत ब्रेक करप. जशें ताणें फाटीं ब्रेक केला तशें बिगिनिंगाकूच ब्रेक करप आनी हाडप आनी तांकां मिनिस्ट्री दिवप जावं आनी कितें करप. हे जे बाकीचे फुडले हे आसा, पूण म्हाका दिसता की ह्या वेळार BJP ते करचें ना आनी करपाक वचचें ना. कारण ते जे केल्लें 2017 ताचे परिणाम BJPक आजूय भोगचे पडटा. आनी आतां जर परत केले जाल्यार तांकां फुडले इलेक्शन मेरेन ताचें भूत तांच्या हाजेर बसतलें. रिजल्ट येवपाचे आसा, पूण BJP हे 13-14 मेरेन पावले जाल्यारूच BJP कितें करपाक शकतले म्हाका दिसता. माय दीस प्रेडिक्शन. जर 14चे सकयल म्हणजे 12च्या मेरेन सुद्दां जर आयले जायत जाल्यार इट्स व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट टू देम टू फॉर्म गव्हर्नमेंट.
Alexander, you on this.
It's going to be, I agree with him, because unless BJP or Congress comes to around 14-15 each, the role that MGP is going to play will not be so big. If Congress does come to around an 18 and the GFP gets 1 seat or 2 seats, it becomes 20, then the role that Sudhin Dawlikar of playing the king and not the kingmaker is going to be very difficult.
But my point is, if the Congress ends up at 15-16 seats, then that is going to be very important. See, my issue is that if the BJP and the Congress both end up at about 15-16 seats, then MGP is going to be wooed by both sides.
By both sides. There are other players also. Independent asa.
Absolutely correct.
आप असा एक दोन जर समजा आप आयले फाल्यां अशें धरया की गोवा रेव्होल्युशनरी गोवन्साचो एखादो कोणी आयलो तर हे BJP वांगडा कोण वचचें ना.
Yes, because see, also we must understand that while we are talking about this, there are certain constituencies that we have not looked at yet. See, for instance, the Murbungao picture, Murbungao Taluka picture is not clear at all. That's going to be very, very important because it's going to be neck and neck. In Vasco, Carlos Almeida is leading, but Daji Salkar might win because of the split of votes. AAP will pull votes. TMC will pull some votes. So the scenario in Murbungao is going to be very, very important. That's going to be crucial.
And Murbungao is where BJP won all 4 seats last
BJP
time.
won all 4 seats. So if BJP retains Murbungao, they are through. They are absolutely through. I mean, they are well on their way to. Also, we must take into account one of the factors in Murbungao. The BJP has very cleverly fielded independent candidates and backed them even though they have their own candidate there. Let's look at Kortali, for instance. In Kortali, the BJP has its own candidate, but it's not even an open secret. It's almost an affirmation that Anton Vaz, who is an independent, has been backed and funded by the BJP. So Anton Vaz winning as an independent is akin to the BJP winning that seat. Now you look at a constituency like Savarde. In Savarde, if Deepak Pavaskar wins, I'm not saying he's winning, but suppose Deepak Pavaskar wins in Savarde, Deepak Pavaskar will go nowhere but go to the BJP. This is the assumption. Now, I am saying that if there are 5 independents and if 3 of them go to the BJP, then the BJP's tally increases anyway. So it all boils down to, again, but the flip side to this is, there is never any black and white here. There are greys in every seat in Goa. The grey situation here is, if the Congress gets about 17 seats, then these very independents who are heading towards the BJP will suddenly stop, take a U-turn and move to the Congress. That can also happen.
सुजयजी, म्हाका ह्या हातून आनी एक ऍड करपाचें आसा. सालसेट, तिसवाडी एंड बार्देस ह्या 3 कॉन्स्टिट्युएन्सी 20 मतदारसंघ आसात. 20
सालसेट, तिसवाडी एंड बार्देस
तालुक्यांत 20. हांगा काँग्रेस आनी अपोजिशन कशें काम करतात ते आणि BJP कशे सीट घेतात ते ताजेर फुल इलेक्शनाचे स्ट्रॅटेजी ठरतली. हे 20 हातून समजा जर काँग्रेस आणि अपोजिशन जर स्ट्रॉंग रावले,
करेक्ट,
BJPक जर हांगा व्हडलेशे कांय हे मेळ्ळे ना, तर आय एम डेफिनेटली टेलिंग यू that BJP is in trouble.
Right. Alexander,
when you're talking about independence, right now we are not seeing any independent actually leading anywhere.
Yeah.
Is there any single constituency? No.
No, I don't see.
See, the vote seems to have consolidated around Congress. So, and if you look now in Kunkali, which was supposed to be quite close, Uriah Alema is leading by over 1,000 votes. In Daboli, which is going to be a surprise if it happens, Captain Virato is also leading by a very few votes. Now, Dayanand Sopte is trailing in Mandre.
Correct.
Where are the independents? The independents are this time actually nowhere. So you're actually going to have BJP, Congress and MGP taking all the seats. Maybe a GFP which is in alliance with the Congress will win somewhere.
Right.
But otherwise independents are going to be very few. So the role of the independents, I think we'll just have to wait for another 2-3 rounds of counting before we really come to that.
Okay. No, that's very interesting because we haven't gone to Savarde, for instance.
Savarde,
we haven't gone to many of the constituencies. See, we haven't analyzed Ponda Taluka in detail. We haven't looked at Salset also. There's a lot to be said in Salset as well. We've actually made a lot of graphics also in the sense that let us look at the cabinet ministers who are in the race. Then you have there are so many MLAs who are also in the race. Defections has become a very, very important issue. So these things are going to play a very, very important part as far as this is concerned. Because as far as defection is concerned, that's another topic that we would like to discuss. This whole election was based and pivoted around the issue of defections. The Congress has got so many seats because the Congress feels that one of the key points was not to give tickets to defectors. And if you see the defectors who have contested on BJP tickets, they're not doing too well. Look at Babu Kavlekar's imminent defeat. One can kind of stick one's neck out and say that at this point of time. Is also a result of this that people have rejected this. So I think even Babu Asgaonkar for that matter. So these defections is, I think we have a graphic on defections if we can quickly pull that up, and because we will know exactly how many candidates have actually defected.
But I think right now from defectors only Nilkant Haldankar and Francis Silvera are kind of leading. The others are all trailing.
Correct.
So independent जो म्हणला तो बिचोली डॉक्टर